Everest, the extreme test of a climber's endurance. A name that arouses passion in the heart of a mountaineer and the ultimate challenge. This is a story about courage, discipline and teamwork. The Indian Army's successful ascent of the highest mountain in the world. This film is also a tribute to the 5 mountaineers who lost their lives in the 1985 Indian Army expedition to Everest. It was after 97 years of its height being calculated in 1856 by a Bengali clerk named Radhanath Sekdar, working under the then Surveyor General, General Andrew Waugh, that peak number 15 was successfully summited. It was in the year 1865, peak 15 was named Everest after the famous Surveyor General of India, Sir George Everest. Sir Edmund Percival Hillary, a mountain climber and explorer from New Zealand, along with Tenzing Norgay, and under the leadership of Colonel John Hunt, successfully reached the summit of Mount Everest in 1953 for the first time. On 29 May 1960, the first Indian expedition was led by Brigadier Gyan Singh. Due to a violent storm at a height of 8,625 meters, just below the summit, the expedition was called off. Several other expeditions followed over a period of time. Army mountaineers participated in all these expeditions. In 1985, the first exclusive expedition to Mount Everest was conducted by the Indian Army under the leadership of Colonel Prem Chand. The team met with extreme weather conditions and lost 5 of the country's finest mountaineers. 16 years later, the Indian Army, with full vigor, formed the team to fulfill the unaccomplished dream. A second expedition to Mount Everest was proposed. It was a search for the finest mountain climbers in the army. Volunteers were called from the various regiments of the Indian Army. The response was overwhelming. The destination for training was in the amphitheatre of peaks around Manali in the Himachal Pradesh and Mana Peak in the Garhwal Himalaya. The training camp set forth some difficult challenges similar to those that the men would encounter on Everest. Out of 63 chosen volunteers, only 24 could qualify for the final expedition. The Chief of the Army Staff, General S. Padmanabhan, flags the team off to embark on an expedition to Everest that would be historic for the Indian Army and for mountaineering in India. 13th March, the team arrives at Kathmandu. Nepal's time-worn streets are flanked by multi-roofed pagodas, stone sculptures, and shops cluttered with mementos for tourists. The team heads for the Pashupatinath temple. Lord Shiva is known by various names, and Pashupatinath is one of them. It is almost a ritual among visiting mountain climbers to pay their obeisance and seek his blessings before they depart for the high mountains. At the Indian Embassy in Kathmandu, the expedition leader, Colonel K. Kumar, briefs the media and the men about the plan of action.
Camp 1 will be at 19,500 feet above the Khumbu icefall, and Camp 2 in the western Coombe at a height of 22,400 feet. Camp 3 we want to establish on the Lhotse face at 24,000 feet, and the last camp or the summit camp will be established on South Col at a height of 26,000 feet. If everything goes as per the schedule, we will be summiting during first week of May.
After the luggage is transferred to the Royal Nepalese Army trucks, the team moves on. The destination, the sleepy town of Jiri. A small Nepalese town, Jiri is the roadhead for the trek to Everest base camp. The team waits for the helicopter to arrive. It is from here that the luggage and rations will be flown to Namche Bazaar. After 3 days of waiting, the helicopter from the Royal Nepal Army finally arrives.
Robin, थोड़ा जल्दी करेंगे आगे लोड.
The 12.5 tons of equipment consists of tents, 9,000 meters of rope, 4.5 tons of rations, 82 cylinders of bottled oxygen and butane fuel gas cans to last for 3 months on the mountains. The trek begins.
Okay, Major. All the best.
Thank you.
Major.
The Kingdom of Nepal is home to some of the finest, highest, though often most commercialized mountains and trekking routes in the Himalaya. The mountains provide Nepal with much of its tourism income, and this in turn forms a major component of Nepal's economy. It will take 17 days for the team to reach the base camp. This trail is the lifeline of the Solo Khumbu region. This is the same route taken by Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay during their expedition to Everest. To reach the base camp, the team will have to pass through a string of little Sherpa villages. Often trekkers directly fly to Lukla and then trek to the base camp. However, this trek from Jiri will acclimatize the men to the changing altitude. After the city's dust and grime, the clean air and the lush green countryside is a relief. The landscape alternates between the high hills and lush green valleys. The population becomes thinner and thinner as the mountaineers move towards the inner sanctum of the Solu Khumbu region. After Namche Bazaar, 146 yaks carry the load to base camp. This in itself speaks for the magnitude of the expedition. The trek takes the team through the picturesque Tengboche. The famous Buddhist monastery here, though destroyed several times, was rebuilt with the help of international funding. The memorials generate an emotion of awe, respect and resolve. One wonders if Everest decides the destiny of its seekers. April 3rd. After 2 weeks of trekking, the advance party welcomes the team at the base camp, which will be their home for the next 2 months. High mountain peaks surround the base camp. Base camp is dotted with numerous and vividly colored tents pitched by various expedition teams from many countries. Striking in contrast are the Indian Army's palatial Arctic tents. The most striking view from the base camp is the Khumbu Icefall. It is a natural barrier en route to the western Khum, which no mountaineers can avoid. It is a day of ceremonies. A Lama from the Pangboche monastery performs the holy rituals. Prayers are offered to the Sagarmatha, also known in Tibet as Chomolongma, the mother goddess of the world. Prayer flags or lungta are put up. The lungta has images of winged horses on them. They are believed to be the carriers of the prayers, written on the prayer flags to the mountain gods. A chuff, perching high on the prayer flagpole, feasts on yak butter. Sherpas consider this to be a harbinger of success. The second phase of the expedition begins. The priority is to open the loads and check the equipment and distribute this among the members.
क्लाइंबिंग मेंबर का हिसाब किताब शुरू करेंगे। बड़े वाला रक्सैक 60 to 70 लीटर इसकी कैपेसिटी है। पूरा मेन सारा सामान हमारा इसी में जाएगा यहाँ से ऊपर। मैक्सिमम इसमें 2 ऑक्सीजन बॉटल, 1-2 विंड चीटर या दूसरी चीज़ें, वाटर बॉटल वगैरह वगैरह जाएगी। इसमें ये सामान आ जाना चाहिए। अगर शक रह जाता है तो बाकी का वो सामान यहाँ पे लोड करके देख लेंगे, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं आनी चाहिए। ये समिट अटैम्प्ट के लिए कितने हैं टोटली? 8 रखे हुए हैं, क्योंकि पूरी टीम हमारी 2 समिट अटैम्प्ट करने का हमारा प्लान है। जो क्लाइंबिंग मेंबर हैं उनके पास, हर एक के पास ये मैट्रेस होना ज़रूरी है। ये मैट्रेस कंफर्ट के लिए है, सॉरी बर्फ़ के ऊपर इंसुलेशन, एक्स्ट्रा इंसुलेशन देने के लिए है, और ये कंफर्ट और इंसुलेशन दोनों के लिए है।
A tent is being packed up for a higher camp. Climbing Everest is not a direct ascent from the base camp to the summit. It is done in stages that can take as long as 6 to 8 weeks. After all the preparations, the team is all set for the climb.
Today is the first day we are going to negotiate Khumbu Icefall, and we are going to the camp 1. It's the first ferry. We are taking a little bit of load. We'll dump the load there, establish the camp, and then come back.
Perhaps the most difficult and hazardous part of the climb is just passing through the dreaded Khumbu Icefall. The glacier is the first obstacle the mountaineers encounter as they enter the western comb. It is a maze of deep crevices and huge blue ice blocks, which can only be traversed with the use of ropes and ladders. And even among the glaciers, it is said to be the fastest moving at a speed of 2 to 3 feet a day. It is here at the beginning of the climb that many mountaineers have lost their lives. The high-speed winds blow tiny particles of snow which scrape the exposed parts of the body like sandpaper. In terms of weather conditions, Everest is an unpredictable mountain. Camps are established along the route to the summit. Several ferries are made to supply each camp with food and supplies. These ferries will also acclimatize the climbers to the rarefied atmosphere of high altitude. 9th April and Camp 1 is established. Camp 1 is situated at an altitude of 19,500 feet, just above the icefall. It is from here that the western comb begins. (13th April). Bad weather at the base camp. Six to 8 inches of snow accumulate at the base camp. The heavy snowfall slows down the process of load ferrying. The team maintains its calm as they have enough time to stock their higher camps before the final push. After 3 days, as the weather brightens up a little, the Sherpas start faring again. Meanwhile, the team prepare themselves for the higher camps.
ये नेट बना रहे हैं हम लोग साउथ कॉल के लिए, टेंट के ऊपर लग रहे हैं, वहाँ हवा बहुत ज़्यादा चलती है, 100 माइल पर आवर, 100 किलोमीटर पर आवर, तो टेंट ऊपर उड़ जाता है।
सब देखिए 4 और फिर आ रही गांठ 5, 4 इधर 4 उधर, 8 आएगी, 8 ही ऐसी है इधर बस। और है नहीं है।
Days roll by and the men conduct regular ferries to Camp 1 and Camp 2, braving the icefall and the altitude.
आज मौसम क्लियर था, अब तो दिल्ली भी करना था और भी आगे जाऊँ।
आगे फटाफट पहुँच गए और आज ऊपर साउथ कोल पूरा दिखाई दे रहा है क्लियर। से पीक, कैंप 2, कैंप 3, येलो बैंड, जिनेवा सफर सब देख के आ गया था।
Today we did not feel tired and it was an easy walk. We reached there in 3 hours 20 minutes and down walk was 2 hours 15 minutes. So day before yesterday when we went, it took us totally 8 hours to go and come back. So it was difference in 2 days. We felt better acclimatized and till now we are not feeling exhausted. It is a good sign.
It's a bright and sunny day and the mood relaxed. Colonel Sharma updates senior authorities over a satellite phone on the progress of the expedition.
Hello, I am Colonel Sharma from Everest Base Camp. Sir, very fine, sir. How is everything that side, sir? Acha, sir, we are progressing as per schedule.
For the moment, the expedition is progressing well and as planned. But silently, the mountain is taking its toll. On 19th April, a helicopter from the Royal Nepal Army arrives to evacuate Captain Shekhawat. He has been suffering from high fever due to a throat infection for the past 3 days. He is flown down to the Royal Nepal Army Hospital at Kathmandu. Altitude can be harsh on mountaineers. They can lose enormous amounts of fluid through breathing in the cold, dry air, leading to severe dehydration. With the temperature dropping to minus 35 degrees Celsius, cold injuries are a constant problem. Nothing stops preparation activities at the base camp. Colonel Sharma volunteers to brief the team about the use of oxygen.
ऑक्सीजन जो है उसकी मात्रा है 1200 लीटर। इसका टोटल वेट है, आप लोगों ने किया है, किसी का 3.5 kg है एवरेज वेट इसका, ठीक है, जिसके अंदर से ऑक्सीजन का वेट है 1600 ग्राम। इस मास्क को आप अपने फेस के ऊपर जब भी जाओगे कैंप 2 वगैरह में पहन के देख लेना, एडजस्ट होना चाहिए एनकों के साथ जब पहनते हो आप। यहाँ से जब आप खींचते हो जैसे ऑक्सीजन आती है, जैसे नेचुरल हवा दोनों का मिक्स होके आपके उनके अंदर जो सांस भर देता है, ठीक है। 1 लीटर पर मिनट के हिसाब से 20 घंटे चलेगा आपका, ठीक है। और अगर आप चलते हुए चल रहे हैं 2 लीटर पर मिनट के हिसाब से तो 10 घंटे, 600 मिनट हो गया ना। अगर आपको थोड़ी सी दिक्कत लगती है तो आप 2 की जगह 2.5 भी खोल सकते हैं, लेकिन जितना जल्दी ज़्यादा खोलोगे तो उतना जल्दी ख़त्म होगा, बस ये याद रखना। लेकिन तकरीबन मेरे ख्याल में जैसे हमारी टीम की एवरेज फिटनेस है 2 और 2.5 के दरमियान पर लीटर चलते हुए और 1 लीटर पर मिनट सोते हुए।
Overexhaustion at high altitude may lead to various health problems. The most fatal ones are the lung and cerebral edema. In these cases, fluid accumulates in the lungs and the brain, which causes death if not treated immediately.
He came to us yesterday evening with the complaints of total exhaustion and high altitude pulmonary edema. Had he come slightly later to us, probably we would not have been able to be of any help to him because we would have lost him. We are trying to supplement oxygen by giving in oxygen at the rate of 4 liters per minute. And with this amount of oxygen and with the descent, hopefully should be recovering within a week.
Our plan is to stay at Camp 1 for 2 days, make a load ferry to Camp 2 again and get acclimatized, get used to the height again. The principle is that work high and sleep low. On 24th, we'll be occupying Camp 2 and staying there for about 6 days. During that time, we'll be making again a routine ferry to Camp 3 and maybe to Camp 4 at South Col. The entire routine of acclimatization we want to finish by 30th of April. First and second, we have kept 2 days reserve. And second, in case everything goes well, the weather is okay. Second, we want to make the summit attempt.
23rd April. With a high degree of preparedness, the team moves on towards the higher camps. They carry sufficient tents, nets, sleeping bags, food, cooking fuel and other essentials required for the higher camps to be established. The weather is ever changing, and this is the pre-monsoon period. Pre-monsoon period is believed to be the best window of opportunity, but nothing is for sure.